friends. So today we are going to experiment the installation. As part of this installation, we have created one GCP VM, and in this GCP VM, we are going to have a Java, Zookeeper, and Kafka. Okay. So first Java. When we verified Java, I mean to say, you can check it whether Java is installed or not. You can see clearly Java is installed. If you didn't follow my previous session and you would like to know how to install Java, this is the command. Now second is you need to be install the Zookeeper. Okay. And in order to install the Zookeeper, so this is a Ubuntu mission we created in the GCP, and you set up the Java, and now you would like to install the Zookeeper. Zookeeper, since it is a practical demo, we are not much stressing about networking and security. We can say in order to run the Zookeeper, it's required a certain ports range. Okay, so I'm going to explain you what are those ports. So this is I am in the Zookeeper directory, and if you look at conf, bin, lib, these are the three important directories. As the name indicates, conf is a configuration file. As the bin indicates, it's a binary files, and lib indicates certain libraries. If you go to conf, because our agenda is conf, so you have zoo.sample.cfg. Okay, right? Just take this file as a backup, zoo.cfg. Clear? And we are going to modify this zoo.cfg file. And let's open this file. What are things are available? And good, in order to edit this file, it's better to have another session to be opened and create the directories as per our requirements. So let's open new session. So this is the one to discuss more about Zookeeper. We have very limited parameters only, and remember it. This is a good to know what are those parameters and how it is helpful in the cluster setup. Because without a Zookeeper, we can run the Kafka, but still majority of the organization still is depend on the Zookeeper. If you look at the first parameter is tick time. So this is the one tick time is equal to 2000 milliseconds. The number of milliseconds for each tick. So one tick is equal to 2000. Unit limit is equal to 10. This indicates 10 tick times. Okay, it's not about 10 milliseconds or 10 seconds. So this is a unit limit is equal to 10 indicates 10 tick time. So I mean to say is like a one tick time is equal to 2k milliseconds. Then unit time is equal to 10 into tick times. Then 10 into 2000 is equal to 20k milliseconds. Hope you are clear. So this is the unit limit is the nothing but when you start the first time Zookeeper on the server, almost time it has to take in, it can take the time to initialize the things, that is called init limit. And sync limit is the one is the one you can say as a synchronization limit. Let's say you have more than the two zookeepers. Generally, zookeeper we don't configure the even number. Why we should not configure? I can explain you. But remember it, we should follow the odd numbers. So the next setup we can say is like a three zookeepers. When you say three zookeepers, the sync limit is equal to 5 indicates 5 tick times means 5 into 2000 is equal to 10,000. So that sync limit is the one is like a in order to synchronize. Let's say you have a 3 node zookeeper cluster. One node you started, the second node you are starting, and the second node said, "Hey, I started. I would like to join the cluster," and it is like sending a request and getting acknowledgement. That is called sync limit. And a data directory. Zookeeper also holds certain data. That data, in order to store, we are going to use the data directory. And remember it, this data directory should be persistent. So you should not configure under the temp. You know, right? If you configure under the temp, it is going to be erased as part of the server restart. So what we can do is like let's create one directory, dedicated directory for Zookeeper data. That's I called as a zk-data. Okay, so cd zk-data. This is called as a I can say Zookeeper data. Okay, go here and client port. I told you right that Zookeeper by default run on the 2181. If you want to be modify, you can modify, but generally we don't modify because when you are doing any product setup, always some ports indicates these ports are from source application. Let's say today you set a different port and the engineer next time comes. Generally, as you know, Zookeeper means you always knows it's a 2181. You try to do certain things on the 2181, then you realize that the Zookeeper is not running on 2181, it is running on some other port. So it's not a best advice to change the port. You can say keep the same port, okay, easily can understandable. And other stuff, if you look at this is the good, these are the what I can say is like a more than enough, and go and save it. I'm recalling again, tick time is the how much time one tick. Init limit is the in order to be first the initialization, how much time it can take, that is the 10 ticks. That is a 10 into 2000, 20k milliseconds. The sync limit is the how much time it can take that to synchronize in the cluster as part of the joining. It's called sync limit. That is, you can say is like a 5 ticks. That is a 5 into 2000. And directory is the data directory where you can hold the Zookeeper data. And client port is the where Zookeeper can run and listen. Okay. And in order to be set up the Zookeeper, there is one of the parameter called my ID. The my ID file, what generally it indicates is like each Zookeeper we need to assign some ID. That is called my ID. You can say is like so here I'm going to give my for my Zookeeper is the 1. Okay, else you can type 0 like that, but remember it, if you are coming if you are from 1 to 3 like that, so each Zookeeper when you have a cluster each Zookeeper should have their own ID. That's why you should always maintain the unique number. Okay, it's not mandatory to give one, but you must be ensured that if you have a 3 node cluster, 3 node Zookeepers, one you have given for the node 1 means you should not assign the again my ID with 1 on the node 2 or node 3. You should assign the different number. But generally what we do, right? 1, 2, 3, if there is a problem, let's say there is a problem with node 3 means we easily understand, okay, if the problem is, let me put it this way, if there is a problem and the problem ID is it is showing as a Zookeeper ID, my ID is a 3, Then in order to easily to understand why, as part of the troubleshoot, we used to put the naming standards is like a node 1 my id 1, node 2 my id 2, node 3 my id 3. So zookeeper id 3 is the problem. That indicates node 3, whoever is the zookeeper where the running on node 3 is having some problem. So this is for best operational method only, nothing else. So if you look at this is the zookeeper. Okay, and if you look at start example, yes, yeah, I Java, if you look at none of the part of process is not running, and the stat is a command in order to check whether is there any process is running on port number 2181. If we look at, okay, there is no stat, this one, so run national binaries. Okay, so good. Now check this one. Oh my bad. Okay, if you look at, nothing is running on. So this is clear. Okay, and now what you can do is, okay, let's go and modify the Kafka configuration also, and we can look at the startup method once those are real. So in Kafka configuration files, Kafka directory also have certain configurations that is under the config. The binaries under the bin and libraries under the libs. Let's go to config directory where we have the main server property file. So you can see this is the server.properties. This is the main configuration file for server. And you might be wonder, Vijay, why are we seeing zookeeper.properties? Means even and as part of, as I mentioned in earlier, in order to run Kafka, Zookeeper is a mandatory, right? So you can find the Zookeeper libraries and bins as part of the Apache Kafka software file itself. That's the reason you can see the Zookeeper.properties. But generally, while we used to install, we always maintain the own Zookeeper, where previously in my session I have shown you, right, how to download from the Apache Zookeeper website. So that way we do follow. So if you look at, you have a lot of configuration file here. Okay, while compared with Zookeeper just you have one file, but Kafka you have a lot of files. So you can we can discuss these files about each file in later, but now look at mainly about server.properties, which is the heart of the Kafka configuration. Okay, here you can see is a broker id is equal to 0. So you can put broker id is equal to 0 or 1, but it must be a unique number. And if you look at here, listeners, you can put this listener and advertise listener. And next few things, let's keep, okay, this is a one more key parameter, log.directory. The log.directory is the one in order to store the Kafka data. Kafka, we know, right, the main purpose of Kafka is to store the events. In order to store these events, we must store somewhere, right? That is called log.directory, and this must be a persistent. That's why I'm creating a new dedicated directory called Kafka data. See, Kafka. Look at here, go here, and number of partition. These parameters always you can show. I mean, you can. We need to know few mandatory parameters. Definitely, I'm going to be walk through in the dedicated session about what is intention of each parameter and which scenario we need to tune which parameter. Okay, but now let's keep just what we need, and here Okay, Zookeeper, we mentioned this is right. Local install is fine, but I want to keep that one, and that's it. Okay, okay, that's good. Okay, now what you can do, I think as part of the setup, some of the files I might be edited with root, some of the files I might be edited with Kafka idiom. So to avoid the confusion, what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the complete ownership. What I am going to do, sudo chown -r Kafka idiom, Kafka idiom and /data. That indicates all the files which are under the data recursively assign the ownership to Kafka idiom. Okay, perfectly fine. And now you can say this is fine perfectly. Just to start the Kafka and Zookeeper, but this is a just basic, very minimal setup, to be frankly, and this is not what we do setup for the in real-time scenarios, but this is what you need in order to start to learn about Kafka and Zookeeper. Okay, now let's go and start the process. Okay, we have two sessions here the session one. Let's say here in the session one, I'm starting the Zookeeper because you know, right, as part of the Kafka startup, first Zookeeper must be open. So here if you run /bin zk-server zk-server my apologies .sh, if you run the thing also, simply it will give how to start the process also. If you look at user bin Zookeeper and it is saying using config, usage is this one and --- config start stop like that. So here what we can do is like a --- config, where it is there our configuration file conf zoo.cfc. Okay, and the action is start. Okay, I know this issue. Okay, so it is, you said, we say we set up everything, but why fail to write, it is telling even though we changed ownership. Means if you look at Zookeeper server.pid, it is starting as a home path, root path, and you are starting with the Kafka area, right? That's why you are getting this error. If you start with the root user, don't throw any error, but I don't want to start with the root user. Okay, so what you can do is like there is a parameter called bin. If you go that why it is coming, I can exactly show you the error. Okay, look at this snippet is creating a problem. So whenever you are doing if file Zookeeper directory / this one, so if you know Zookeeper data directory, then it can create the this file. Since we didn't mention this Zookeeper data directory, it was creating the problem. Now what you can do is like a simply export. You know, we should face the issues and we should learn, then only we can see the exactly what is the thing needed. Okay, -data, this is the our data, right? Now can you run? Data directory is taking breathe. This one. Okay. see, this is a Zookeeper. Ju.cfg, somehow it is not picking up properly. That's the reason it is creating a problem. Okay, so ju.cf is equal to do.cfg directory by $2, and here it is telling this one. Okay, ju.data directory. Look at do.cfg not a directory. Okay, so this is the problem, guys. Don't worry. What you can do, okay, if you look at it was like each version they used to modify. That's the reason. Error, we don't have this one, but now they are saying config directory there. Earlier what we used to do, we used to give the directly the ju.cfg file itself, but now it is allowing to give only the config directory. I have given, now it's accepted. So this is a Zookeeper started. Now if you look at status, okay, if you look at what it is telling, Zookeeper using configuration file and client found and local address, local host and standalone mode. Okay, clear? So this is standalone because we are didn't set up the cluster, right? Due to that reason. Stat -pna -i to 1. Okay, look at now it's a listen. Now let's go to Kafka. Kafka also what you can do, you know, to start up cd Kafka underscore to okay. I'm starting in the front end itself. You know, while you are doing any setup of Apache Zookeeper first time, my advice is start in the front end and look at what are the errors are coming, because it is a, it's not as, let's say, hey, I installed multiple times, I'm very confident that there would be error. Definitely you can face sometimes either typo errors, or either due to any uh, some due to silly mistakes. Thus better to have background front end, then if it is a perfectly running file, then run in the background. Okay, now here this is, see, if I didn't give any ampersand, that means no hub, it's a front end I'm going to run here. Okay, if you look at here, this is the Kafka server and started, there is no, and let's go under this mission 9092, the port number, something is listening on 9092, that means you can say it's like a Kafka is up. But however, you cannot say it is a fully up or not. It's always advice is just to create a one terminal topic. What is the topic, what is the partition, I can explain you in depth wise. Okay, why I type means I don't want to type each word, I can say simply uh, Okay, and this is a host name 9092-create. First topic you can call it as a demo. Okay, you can look at, see, if you look at, this is a Kafka. Here you can see Kafka server started. All right, that indicates Kafka is perfectly started and it is ready to do functional. And if you look at when you creating a topic, and I didn't pass any arguments, simply I gave default, so that's why it is having a default configuration. If you look at here, you can see demo, there is a topic, and let's try to produce one message and try to consume another message, that same message. Okay, just a small thing, nothing. Okay, okay. If when you type that producer command, you can see this one, right? This indicates it's properly connected and you are ready to post a message. If you type hi, that is one message and it is prompted for. And let's try to consume the same messages in the real time. Oh, my bad. I could have started this one, the background right now. Let me start it. Okay. What do you call console consumer? I can explain you what is consumer, what is producer, and these things. But now try to remember it. This is okay. If you type any message, hello, see the message is anything you can type. Hello, see this is and Kafka grab and this is a message. So this is the conclude that you have set up the basic. Differently, my agenda I want to give more in depth, but before that I want to take this is up. I'm also very new with respect to recording these things, so I want to just have a one demo kind of session. This is okay, and we in the next sessions we are going to have a very good discussions about Kafka administration activities, like how to do Kafka cluster setups and what we do day-to-day activities and what kind of issues we can expect. And definitely it is going to be very practical sessions and troubleshooting and how do you prepare for interviews. And definitely it is going to be from zero to here. The kind of confidence you are going to get with me, and you can face easily the job interviews and easily can crack it. And Kafka definitely it is a very good openings in the market, and even you can get good packages also. Even I can say like there are DevOps engineers, and when you say Kafka plus DevOps or something, then you can gain the more package compared to the DevOps engineers. And because the Kafka just don't imagine like what you did today is the just it. Now that's it, nothing else like that. No, a lot of concepts are there, and I'm going to walk through each of these parameter and how to do these all things. Okay, but right now this session just to and of course you can say is like a testing of my setup, and testing of how where I need to improve and what I need to improve with respect to giving the recorded sessions, these areas. Okay, thank you so much for your valuable time and looking at. And yeah, okay, so the next sessions I'm going to create like a multi-node Kafka cluster setups with a Zookeeper and without a Zookeeper. And without Zookeeper, that method is called craft method. And how to do install the craft method, I'm going to explain. And how do you, as an administrator, means the monitoring is a very important observability. So how do you set up the monitoring and in real time? This is just what today I have done is like a just very basic what is what, but I'm going to install the multi-node and integrate with the Prometheus and Grafana and look at the parameter and what are the basic and mandatory parameters about the Zookeeper and Kafka, and what is a producer, what is a consumer, how the key parameters of Kafka works in each way, and how to tune those parameters. And definitely we are going to look each every area in future sessions. Thank you so much for your valuable time, and thank you once again. Bye.